Hello there, child, or he calls me his child, or Dusty Rose, whichever you will. So I'm not sure how well I'm going to do at this, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm doing this, why I pick the books I pick, why I'm not really accepting recommendations for doing this. I spent most of my life reading fiction, devouring it. I had speed reading capabilities naturally, or developed them over the years by myself. I could convert chunks of paragraph and whole sentences into imagery in my head. People have told me that they often have a voice in their head that reads along with words. I never had that, and when I found out that other people had that, I thought that was weird, because for me it just goes straight to images, but only if it's written in novel style. So novels or nonfiction that's very colorfully written. Nonfiction was always very difficult for me to comprehend as a result, because I couldn't pull my standard speed reading on it. But I often enjoyed reading my favorite books out loud to people. At the time, again, that was usually novels, but I just always enjoyed sharing my favorite books with people. Fast forward to age about 26 or so, 26, 27, and I was dating. My then boyfriend was interested in some nonfiction titles and wondered if maybe I could read them to him. And I was interested because I had tried, over the years I tried here and there, but I usually failed at making myself really comprehend what I was reading. So what I did is picked up Mere Christianity, which we both agreed on that as a title, and I started reading it out loud. And as I read it out loud, exiting my mouth, entering my ears again, it started making more sense. And whenever I was stuck, I could go, hey, so what does this part mean? Before when I was stuck, it was just me, and there was nothing I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. I shouldn't keep going because I'd hit a wall and I'd stop. But in this case, I could actually discuss, and it became interesting, and I got through Mere Christianity, and I was like, wow, I think I want to do more of this. And so I started really digging into nonfiction for the first time. I think the next book we read together was like The God Delusion. I'm actually going to put a full list of nonfiction books I read from that point below in the description, so you can see what I'm talking about, because this made me want to understand the real world more. I used to be such an escapist. I didn't want to deal with reality. Reality is messy. Reality is ridiculous. You couldn't write the stuff we're going through. It is stranger than fiction. And it's much less controllable than fiction, which was part of why I liked fiction so much. It's very controlled. In reality, the answers are much harder to find, and everybody thinks they have it. So the list you'll see below is the list of my journey to understand certain things so far. And my three main topics I've been interested in are cultural and historical context of scriptures, psychology, and a kind of a broader umbrella of how things work, economics, political things, social, I don't know what you'd call that umbrella, but that is the kind of third topic. And under those three topics, most of my reading has been grouped with various offshoots and, false starts or things like that. Part of the reason I want to bring this up is that I will probably bring books on here that are going to upset people. Part of the reason they're going to upset people is because people are going to disagree with what the books say. They're going to think, oh, that's wrong, that's terrible, how dare you put that up here, maybe. I can't speak for every single person who's upset with something that I put up, but that's my guess. And I want to stress that this is really a journey for me. This is me picking books that are making me think about reality for the first time. I'm still very young in my exploration of knowledge in this area. I'm currently 31 years old, so think about, what I said started at like 26 or 27. I've only been doing this for a few years, and nonfiction takes me longer to read than fiction because I have to slow down to process it. So out of the pool of knowledge that I am slowly acquiring, I will occasionally find a book or a writer who I'm like, this is so phenomenal. This made me think differently. This made me question things that I never questioned before, and I want to put that book to you. I'm not saying the books I choose are the be-all, end-all. I'm not saying this has 100% the right answers, but in my exploration, I do want to say, hey, this one, think about this. What if this is right? It is not the end of my search. I am just at the beginning of my search. This is going to take me many, many years. So as I've said before, I'm not going to argue. And part of the reason I'm not going to argue is that I'm still learning. This is a learning process. I just wanted to share that with you because it just seems like a lot of people are very sure about things, and there isn't a lot of room for exploration, it feels like. But I want to explore and figure things out over a long period of time. And I want to share with you some of the gems that I find. To address another issue, if any author ever contacts me and asks me to take their work down, I will 100% do that. I have no intention of fighting or saying I have the right or whatever, but I don't monetize this channel, and I'll never monetize this channel. I'm not interested in selling this. I just want to share things that I find to be important and interesting. And some of that will be fiction, because there's some fiction that I find has an important message, and some fiction that I'm having, Book of the Dun Cow is just because it's my favorite and I do voices, and I'm tired of reading it over and over, so it's like one more and done. Generally, that's an exception. Mostly I'm picking books that I find to be important. And because this is my journey, that's part of why I'm not going to be taking recommendations. I'm not likely to have more than 3 books open at a time, so I'm going to stick with, for now, 1984, Heretics and Orthodoxy, and the Book of Sorrows. But I am strongly considering bringing a Thomas Sowell book in on the next open slot, because I have read 4 books by him so far, and he's pretty incredible. I'm also still hoping to bring The Problem of Pain by C.S. Lewis in at some point, but it keeps getting bumped on the list. I'll get there at some point. I hope you have a really good day, a really good week, a gentle month. If this content on this channel inspires you to do anything, I just hope it inspires you to really think about things, question things, various things, everything. Figure out those things that frustrate you, that confound you, that don't seem quite right, but you've always been told to accept, because that's the story of what I've been doing for the last several years, and I'm just starting out.